The movie opens when a very talented programmer, Mason Vix, is doing a live stream while talking about how human consciousness destroys everything in this world. According to him, the entirety of greed, hatred, and pain are created in one place, which is the human brain, but this could be changed, so he has a plan to fix humankind by hacking into the human mind. Mason is interrupted by Finn, Mason's alter ego, who has manifested himself as a physical person in front of Mason, and asks how they will hack into a human mind when they don't have a proper source to do that, like hardware or software. Mason turns off his stream and tells Finn to leave him alone for a minute, but he is speechless when Finn, in return, asks him where he can go. Later, Mason is walking down the street, thinking about how he can recycle the used water bottles. He keeps getting interrupted by Finn, who urges him to cut the power supply to the city for their corporate competition, but Mason rejects his suggestion, saying he doesn't steal from innocent people. Mason keeps walking towards his destination, now completely ignoring Finn, who keeps trying to convince him to do things his way, saying it was not only Mason who thought about the idea of updating a human mind. After walking for a while and taking an elevator, Mason reaches a place that looks like the headquarters of some hippie group, as people are drinking and doing drugs in broad daylight. Mason asks around for someone named Zip, but instead of giving him information about Zip, the girls tell him that their leader, Sun Moon, is looking for him. When Mason goes to meet Sun Moon, the man first gives him some kind of drug, and after Mason takes it, Sun tells him that his close friend Nicola is dead. Sun Moon tells him that she was working on a headset to map the human mind, and he wants Mason to keep his eyes open because apparently, Nicola was working with someone named Eden, who is also a mad scientist. Sun then tells him to inform him if he finds anything about Nicola. Mason leaves from there after getting all the information and goes downstairs, where all of the people are now dancing. Mason takes part in dancing for a moment, but his attention is diverted when he notices a beautiful blonde girl in the crowd. Before he could make a move on her, he spots a man named Zip standing on the balcony and quickly leaves the dance floor to find him, as Zip is a mastermind coder who was supposed to give him the important portion of the code for his mind-hacking plan. When he reaches upstairs, Mason finds the room where Zip is hiding and starts to knock violently on the door but gets no answer. Finn also joins him there and convinces Mason that Zip is trying to betray him. Finn says that they can't leave their important mission like that and urges Mason to break down the door. Mason tries to resist at first, but he finally gives in and breaks the door, only to find Zip stoned and lying on his chair. When Zip couldn't reply to any of his questions, Mason kidnapped him from there by putting him in a big shopping bag, throwing him inside a shopping cart, and dragging him all the way to his house. When Zip comes back to his senses, Mason asks him about the code, saying he needs it today, but Zip refuses to give it to him, saying his mother took away his computer and if he wants the code, he will have to pay him. Finn, who is also watching the scene unfold in front of him, says to Mason that unless they use force on Zip, he will not give them what they want. Mason finally follows Finn's suggestion and starts beating up Zip, who quickly surrenders and agrees to write the code on Mason's system. When Mason moves back a little, Zip tries to escape, but instead, he falls out of the cart while the shopping cart slides forward and crashes into the girl. Mason rushes to apologize to her and finds that she is the same girl from the party. The girl introduces herself as Swayer, telling him that she is his new neighbor. Mason talks to her formally, and she soon goes back inside her apartment. Finn is not happy with Mason's poor flirting skills, but Mason ignores him and instead takes Zip inside his house. Zip immediately goes to write the code, while Mason just lies on the floor, talking to Finn. He says that Zip is finishing the code that will allow him to map the entire human brain, and soon he will be able to delete every deficiency in a human brain. Finn adds that to complete their task, they need Nicola's headset, but Mason says Eden the scientist is just a myth and he will instead use an EG-10. As they argue about whether they should get the headset, Zip is writing the code while listening to Mason's one-sided conversation. When he finishes the code, he calls Mason, who is very happy with the progress. Zip asks Mason who he was talking to, and he is not very fazed when Mason replies that he was talking to Projectile Imagination. Zip just says that he did something else for Mason and informs him that he dropped a GPS tag into Eden's system. Mason is very impressed by Zip's work, and when Zip leaves, he gets ready to sneak into Eden's place. After getting ready by wearing their respective masks, Mason and Finn both go to find Eden. They walk into a sewerage system by following the GPS, but when they reach the final point, they are frustrated to find that there is no visible door to go inside. Mason is frustrated at first as Zip didn't mention anything about a door with no way to open it, but soon he gets an idea as he suggests that they will try to project Finn in that room. They both agree on the idea, and Mason slowly starts to imagine what the insides of the room would look like. To their surprise, it actually works, and Mason is able to project Finn inside the room where Eden is sitting on his chair, wearing the headset. Finn can see everything but is unable to touch anything, so this time he suggests that he will try to project Mason in the room. Even though Mason is reluctant to try the idea, Finn imagines him inside the room, and Mason actually teleported into the room. He quickly snatches the headset from Eden and then forces him to open the door using his voice. When the door is open, Mason electrocutes Eden with the taser he is holding and leaves, saying that if he ever sees Eden again, he will kill him. While going back home with the headset, Mason bumps into Sawyer at the side of the road, who offers him something cool. Mason instead comes back to his house, where he starts a live stream. He finally reveals his face to his followers and tells them that he is going to decode the human brain. Mason keeps his streaming on and wears Eden's headset, which instantly starts to upload his brain to the computer. Mason passes out and gets a flashback from earlier when he was with Sawyer and told her about his plan. Sawyer was not happy with his plan, as she tried to convince him to stop saying that he will be playing God if he does that and that he should think about if people want their minds to be rewritten, but Mason ignores her and leaves from there. Back in the present, Mason is going through different phases of pain, and when he wakes up, Finn points to a bright yellow ball hovering over Mason's head. Finn says that it is Iker's or Mason's consciousness. He slowly touches it, and suddenly everything goes black. When they both wake up again, Finn is shocked to find he now has a proper physical body and can touch and feel everything. Meanwhile, Eden goes to the hippie club, where he tortures Sun Moon and gets information about the whereabouts of Mason. After finding out about Mason, Eden kills Sun Moon. In Mason's house, after getting a proper physical body, Finn wants to go out to experience different human things and eat. Mason doesn't want him to go out, as he says they need to fix this quickly. They argue about the situation, but Finn says that Mason is a genius and should solve it. When Mason tries to stop him again, Finn pushes him back and leaves, saying he can do whatever he wants. Finn goes to a club, where he takes the drugs they offer him, and then goes inside a room with a girl. In the meantime, Mason is trying to find a solution, but when Finn starts to be intimate with the girl, Mason also starts to feel the same effects, and they start to glitch. Mason quickly goes to the club, where he finds Finn sleeping beside the girl. He quickly wakes Finn up, asking if he felt what just happened, but Finn is unfazed by all this. Mason tries to make him realize that they just glitched and need to go back so he can find a solution to all this by going back to Eden's lab, but Finn refuses to help him. Mason is frustrated by all this and tries to sedate Finn, who is shocked by his attempts. Finn easily holds him down and realizes that Mason is just trying to save himself instead of the world, and he is not his first alter ego who came to life. Mason is forced to leave there as Finn tells him that he is actually the human problem. When Mason comes back to his room, Eden is already waiting for him and injects him with something. When Mason wakes up again, he is tied to a chair. Eden suddenly electrocutes Mason with his wireless taser. Mason shouts in pain. Meanwhile, Finn, who is still at the club, also feels the same pain. When Mason is able to start talking again, Eden stops torturing him. He asks Eden what he wants, as he already has the headset. Eden reveals that he is planning to wipe out all the humans and build the garden that was there before humanity appeared. He says that to complete his mission, he will use Mason's mind as a map. Eden then puts the headsets on Mason, but before he can do anything, Sawyer comes there. Eden quickly hides, and Sawyer locks the door from inside, escaping with Mason before Eden can come back inside. In the meantime, Finn had left the club after feeling excruciating pain when Mason was getting electrocuted. When Mason comes back to his senses, Sawyer again tries to make him realize his mistake, saying that the solution to his problem lies within him. Mason suddenly remembers Finn, and he quickly leaves from there, saying to Sawyer that he needs to save his friend. On his way back to his home, Mason destroys Eden's headset. He comes back to his house, where he starts a stream, telling his followers that he is going to perform the last ever jam and asking them to burn down his house if he never comes back. Before he could go inside the house, he was attacked by Eden again, who brought him inside and tied him to the chair. When he wakes up, he is shocked to find that Finn has somehow merged with Eden's body. Eden's body quickly glitches from Finn to himself. Mason tries to apologize to Finn, but they ignore him and instead cut the side of his head, putting a wire there. Mason keeps apologizing to Finn for not being a good friend. Finn finally decides to help him as he turns off the device attached to Mason and forces Eden to cut his own throat. Finn also disappears with Eden. Mason is still tied to the chair as Sawyer comes inside the room and unties him, also removing the wire from his head. He is very happy to be with her, and she drags him out, where she shows him all of his followers that came to help him. The golden ball again appears on Mason's head after his mind's projection is complete on his computer. When Sawyer touches it, she disappears from there as Mason idly stands there looking at his followers. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you smash the like button, leave a comment, subscribe, and turn on the notifications to help the channel out. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.